Hey everyone, buckle up for a wild clubbing tale where bathroom lines turn chaotic and the unexpected becomes reality. Get ready to dive into a story where tempers flare, security gets called, and the night takes a turn you won't believe. I used to work at a nightclub for many years as a side gig. This club had a lot of pretty diverse events, but every Saturday night was one of the biggest parties in the city, so it brought out the basics in droves. Just your regular young city dwellers or bridge hoppers flocking to get their grove on. This place would get packed, like squeezing through a sardine can packed. So packed that often people couldn't even dance. They just stood smashed up against each other, sort of wiggling a bit, at least back in its heyday. This was not my type of event. I super hate strangers touching me. One of my jobs was to tend to the bathrooms, which surely means in a past life I was likely a baby murderer, given how disgusting that chore was on the busy Saturday nights. Honestly, that part of the job alone, I have several tales of woe from. There were more than a few bathrooms, and one was a single stall on the top floor. This one always had a line, and had the most issues as people liked its privacy to do all sorts of things you can imagine people doing during a raging party. I've seen some things. Anyway, I marched my merry butt up the stairs, fighting the crowd back as best I could to refresh the tiny loo, and as usual there was quite a line. Now I am not only in uniform, with a radio hanging off my butt, cleaning towels etc., but my arms were full of toilet paper. I tried to communicate to the line as best I could over blaring music and endless screaming that I needed to go next so they'd have the ability to wipe if needed. Even though the line was filled with wobbly clubgoers, pretty desperate to use the toilet, they seemed to understand. Except this one chick. She was very basic. Like you'd hire her to stand in as an extra in a Gap commercial. She was young, blonde, and otherwise forgettable, though attractive for sure. She wasn't even dressed up for dancing, just like she walked out of a mall on an average day. Immediately she was irate and started yelling that I couldn't cut the line. This was many, many years ago, so I don't remember all the vitriol she spewed. But you'd never guess this basic little lady would have a mouth worse than a sailor's. While I'm trying to assure her drunk butt that I'll just be 2 seconds, all I had to do was put down to pee and wipe a surface, unless someone was actually dead in there. And she isn't even next in line, fifths. Then door opened. I immediately rushed in and the lady tried to follow me in the single stall bathroom. Excuse me? She's losing her mind and I'm scared, so I quickly start shutting the door, careful not to close her in it at the same time and lock it. I radio security for help and wait. I'm a coward, so I waited until security gave the all clear to leave. I didn't think anything more about it, because clubs are crazy and shit just happens on the regular. Later I'm outside on a break when, who do I see? Little Miss Basic in handcuffs. She'd been set down on the curb by the police, and I'm asked to give my statement of what led up to this 5'5" waif assaulting security. Her friends, a guy and another lady, were standing over her yelling, "Get her out of handcuffs." She didn't do anything. They weren't around for the incident, at least not that I saw. And she's crying saying, "I didn't hit anyone." Sure, Jan. Once I filled out the statement, security told me what she did to them. Once they arrived upstairs at her freaking out on a bathroom door, they tried to calm her down. These guys were huge, but have a lot of control. And this isn't the kind of club where people get roughed up by staff, though sometimes that would have been nice. Instead of calming down and listening to reason, she went feral and started hitting them on their heads mostly, going for their faces, even leaving a huge scratch near the head of security's eye. She must have been climbing up the 6-foot-plus guy to injure him in that way. I never saw that guy actually injured by anyone my entire time working there. It took everything in me not to die laughing when they hauled the little lady off for assaulting 2 people. I'm also really glad I got her out of the bathroom before she got to me too. And with that wild tale wrapped up, remember, sometimes the most unassuming characters can surprise you with their antics. Stay tuned for more stories that will leave you shaking your head in disbelief. And don't forget to leave your thoughts in the comments below.